So anyway, he goes, I think you need to lose weight. And I'm
What?
like, what?
Thanks for stating the obvious.
What? Like,
That's a
what?
bitch on narcotics.
I said, welcome to Cue the Mic. I'm Darren Worth.
And I'm the lovely Randy Twyford, thank you.
And I'm Emma Derflinger, and this is episode 57.
57.
Yep. Can you believe it?
Hey, Randy, you were the talk of the town this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you were.
You were the talk of the town. So I went down to this barbecue contest down in Ottumwa.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sitting around. I didn't get there till Friday afternoon because Griffin, the grandson Griffin, graduated from preschool. So I had to go to the festivities on Friday morning.
Right.
But I got down there and I was roughing it.
Yeah.
I had the big old motorhome, which I wasn't allowed to do anything barbecue related in the motorhome.
Right.
I could go in there, I could sleep, I could go to the bathroom, I could sit in a chair, but do not bring one piece of fucking barbecue into that motorhome, right?
Right.
Makes sense.
So I had a little 4-foot table outside because I thought I had 2 tables in the motorhome. I only had 1 until I got home and found the second one. But I had one little 4-foot table, no easy up tent, and the fucking wind was blowing like a bastard.
So you couldn't run the awning out?
Well, I ran the awning out, but then it's automatic, so it runs it back in.
Okay.
But anyway, it was fine, except for I had to open up the door to the barbecue or to the motorhome and put the table behind the door to block the wind to do my turn-ins. It was quite interesting. It was fun. But anyway. But after I got everything prepped up, I'm just kind of hanging out a little bit on Friday afternoon, sitting in a chair, and one by one, here comes all these guys, podcast listeners, lots of.
Oh, really?
I mean, if I talk to one, I talk to 20 podcast
really?
listeners.
Well, that's
and
great.
And every single one of them was the beginning of their week. They loved it. That was when they either got to work first thing in the morning, which I'm like, hey, aren't you supposed to be working instead of listening to a fucking podcast, right? But anyway, or when they got home, but it was a Monday ritual.
Really?
About podcast. And we went into, I said, content's so hard because sometimes I feel like we just ramble, about our lives and about the business, which they said, hey, we still enjoy that. We love the educational part. And that's always when we first started this was to help the small guy out, right?
Right.
And so we started talking about, he goes, one of the guys says, what the hell is up with Twyford? I said, what? And he says, did you see his TikToks? And I said, no. Well, first of all,
at least
Randy,
we know they're watching those.
Hey, Randy, It's what's up, brother. It's not what's up, bro.
What's up, bro? What's up, brother?
Well, that's mine.
What's up, brother?
What's up, brother?
Yours is what's up,
Tuesday.
Bro.
Well,
Tuesday, special team, special play.
Barbecue on the rack.
And then I had to explain to them they couldn't figure out the whole jumping into the thing. And I said, well, haven't you seen the one where somebody's going on vacation, and they're jumping? I think the one thing that it really, if you were to do that over again, and we'll talk about doing it over again, but if you were to do that over again, it's like how do you pan out so they know you're at a different location? Because you were like jumping from concrete to concrete.
Well, let's see. Where was I jumping from? I was jumping from here at home.
I know.
Gravel to gravel. Gravel to gravel.
Right. But the thing is, you couldn't tell you were in a different surrounding.
And I didn't have enough stuff behind me, which is a good thing because something we need to talk about is our new location.
Yeah, let's talk about your new location.
It's that bad?
Yeah.
Yeah, Randy gave me he sent me a message and said, yeah, this isn't it. And I'm like, well, are you going to give it a little time? No.
I can't afford it.
You're not even going to give it a chance?
I can't afford it. I mean, our business was...
How long has it been open?
Well, it's not really open, but I mean, I was down over half in sales. And Jacksonville is one of our biggest days. And I just can't, when I look at, I had the same labor I had at the food truck park, I would have had down at Circle K. And then I would have had about half or a little better more income at sales at Circle K than I would have there. I think it all boils down to, I knew in the back of my mind it could have been an issue, but it was more of an issue than I thought is, well, what drives everything besides sales? Location, location, location. And
you said it was not very far from the Circle K.
It's not.
It wasn't. It's not. But like when Randy called me and said, this isn't it, I was sitting there going, wow, it's only a half mile away. But Circle K, he's right out in front on a very busy road.
Yeah, the busiest road in Jacksonville.
So his impulse buy, oh shit, there's the Twyford food truck. I'm pulling in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Whereas you go to the food truck park, kind of backed in. Oh, there's a food truck park. Okay,
there's the Mexican truck. Oh, there's Twyford's back there. We
got it.
But it was, it was kind of it wasn't much of an experience. But I just, and maybe I should give it a more time. But from a financial standpoint, I don't want to do that. I feel like that we can go back to Circle K now, and a lot of people may not even know we were gone down there to the place on South Main.
Yeah, one of those things that I think you could do is, like that food truck park. I'm assuming the guy's going to have special events type thing, a food truck rally or whatever. Yeah. It's fine to go in, not in the middle of the day, but on a weekend or whatever, when you got the food truck available, to be able to go pop in and do one of those special events where he's really drawing in a crowd versus just everyday business. And not saying
instead of us trying to draw in,
you won't be saying, boy, I screwed up. But I think
instead of us trying to draw the crowd in,
Yeah, exactly.
And they're on at Circle K. We are on Morton Avenue, the main thoroughfare. And if you don't think that what you were saying, Darren, is right, you are right.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Oh, I'll admit it any day.
Selective hearing. Hearing.
I said he was right.
Emma's mom used to say that all the time. Amanda would go, "Yep, you're right." And I said, "What did you say?" "Yeah, I know. Hate to admit it."
But
I never do.
60% of our business down at Circle K, or maybe even 70, is from 4 o'clock on, from 4 to 6. And I think a lot of that has to do with people go by during the day and say, "Oh, Twyford's is here. I'm going to stop on the way home when I get off work, or I'm going to stop later on and pick up something and take home." Because that's when our bulk meets and a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
When that is.
Yeah.
So you're exactly right. And I've tried doing, and I've told this before, we do double headers where we'll do an event in Springfield and then we'll come back to Jacksonville and do a 3 to 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. It don't work. And it's just the fact that people don't see us there during the day. And, but we'll be back at the old Circle 'em Up K this week, and we'll see what happens. So
the old Circle K. So yeah, lessons learned.
Yeah,
I mean, you take a chance. You take a chance.
Yeah, and that's what I said. We took a chance. Now we know, or kind of know.
Right, and if it doesn't work out, Randy, I'm looking for a food truck guy anyway.
I said I'd be up there in 30 minutes.
Yeah, 30 minutes. Hello, attitude adjustment with my food truck guy about sales and management, and let's just say he's no longer employed.
Right.
And so, and so now I'm at this critical junction of this food truck. And to us, this food truck, it's not a very main source of income, right?
Right.
This isn't even, I don't know, 5% of my total business.
Right.
I mean, it's a great marketing thing.
Mm-hmm.
But It's an expensive thing. The truck's getting older. It just takes a lot of maintenance, right?
Right.
Any food truck takes a lot of maintenance.
Sure.
So, and it's hard to find somebody to drive the truck, so I'm at the point of, do I find a permanent location for this truck somewhere farther away from the restaurant that people don't have time to get there and just kind of sell stuff, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, whatever, and have people show up at the restaurant and truck food out to the truck every day?
Right.
Do I find a permanent location for it? And not saying you can't leave at night and go do a location event or go do,
Sure.
hey, we're not going to be here today because of that, and just create it like an additional restaurant. Or like I said to Shayla, who was one of my managers that was driving the truck in place on Friday night, I said, hey, if you happen to find a cliff, just make sure you can jump out in time, because I
Jump
really
out
need you.
as you go. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah,
feeling.
jump out there and let that sumbitch go over the cliff, because it might be, of course, my wife. She hasn't said it yet, but she wanted to sell that truck so bad at the beginning. Just sell the damn truck. Just sell the damn truck. And now she hasn't said it yet, though, but she knows I'm getting closer.
Well, if you're going to sell it, now would be the time to do it.
Well,
At the beginning of the season.
At the
I
beginning
think
of the
you're
season,
almost
when
too
everybody's
late.
interested.
You're almost a little late.
Yeah, I don't know. What's a food truck worth these days? I think I spent $70,000 on that bitch and shipped it out of Arizona.
I don't know if it'd be that much.
Well, I don't expect it to be that much.
Oh, well.
Listed on usedvending.com.
Yeah.
Listed on
you.
usedvending.com, then you don't have to dick around with it. And they'll sell it for you. And when the people come to you, they'll have already put down earnest money, and they've already qualified them that they got the money, they can buy it. And if there's any, and they'll tell you what it's kind of worth, what the ballpark running price is on it. That's where I've sold all.
And if you're listening to the podcast and interested in getting the food truck business, man, it's cherry. It runs like a dream. I've already
Don't listen to any previous episodes, though.
No, it's fine. It actually runs. I mean, as long as we kept having generator problems, and and then you figure out that I walked in, the guy says, you need to service this every 150 hours. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah. He says, your bottom filters were all plugged. It was overheating.
Yeah.
Been
there, done that.
But the problem is to get it serviced. You can service it yourself if you know how. I probably should learn how, because it's $400 every time I go to Cummins.
That's
to
cheap.
Get it serviced. That's cheap.
I pay $800.
Oh my God.
Ooh.
And I pay it religiously, because that son of a bitch was broke down. I fought with that fucking generator right and left, and it was because of maintenance, lack of. And then after I had to send it to St. Louis, and when you send it to St. Louis, it's a minimum $4,000 down there, because they got to jack the truck up, drop the engine, and that. And they said, we could put this on a maintenance program. And I'm like, sell me on it.
Yes, you will.
And it sounded expensive, but just the other day, the guy called and he goes, your hours ought to be getting up there. Sure enough, we were a little over 200 hours, and he came up, changed the oil, new filters, went through it all, and she runs.
Yeah.
And that's very unlike
Emma,
me doing something.
Emma, you got a cold? Is that why you're breathing heavy?
Fuck you.
Emma's got a little feedback that she's a heavy breather. She goes, we have a heavy breather on the podcast, and it's not you or Randy. I'm like, wow, your mic's just closer to your mouth, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
We like that you breathe heavy. I mean, Emma, you're between two hunk of guys here. Why wouldn't you be breathing
very
heavy?
Understandable.
It hurt my feelings. I was telling somebody, I was like, how am I the heavy breather? That's not fair. No, I am overcoming. I think it might be allergies. I don't know. Allergies, a cold. I'm treating it for both.
Been treating it for both.
Yeah, 'tis the season.
Yeah, I went
Have
to
you
the.
got those?
What?
have you got those little gnats up there in Iowa?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Those son of a bitches are terrible down here.
In the kitchen?
No, outside when you're
Just in
outside
general.
trying to do stuff
Yeah,
outside.
just in general.
And
Yeah. It's
I
bad.
use that bug
See, I
spray,
caught it
Buggums.
already.
Buggums.
Damn
I
it!
don't have
I knew I shouldn't got on this podcast with Emma.
You're welcome.
We use that Buggums, and it somebody told us about this horse liniment that was
Horse liniment.
Horse liniment. It's in a tube, and it says on there horse liniment. And the guy told me, he said it works perfect. It's better than Buggums, and it doesn't smell. Well, it smells like fucking spearmint bubble gum. I mean, it's got a spearmint.
You don't like
what's
spearmint?
wrong with that?
It gets old after a while, and it doesn't do as good a job. But my guys now are, they're all football players, so they're using it for putting it on their knees and their shoulders and stuff to help get the soreness out. So stay with Buggums. Don't have anybody talk you into doing some fucking horse liniment, because it won't work.
Yeah, so get
Not
this.
many
I had
people can get talked into horse liniment like Randy can.
Right. So this week I had my annual physical at the doctor.
Oh, I don't want to hear about this.
So I go to the doctor, and it was a little nerving. And brand new doctor. I've had him once before, but my family doctor left, and so this guy, really cool, like Doogie Howser, Dr. McKenna, really, really cool guy. I liked him when I went and saw him when my other doctor was out of town once, and they're like, hey, you need to have a new doctor. You want this or this? Oh, hell, I want McKenna. So I go in, and, he's like, hey, where are you hurting? My knee hurts, and my big toe, or my next to my big toe hurts, and he does this. And I said, fuck, I got all kinds of pains in my damn, and it's just from running your phone, right?
Yeah.
Just typing on your phone, and some days I can hardly do it. I have to go to my left hand to work my phone.
Okay.
Anyway, he goes, I think you need to lose weight, and I'm like, what?
Thanks for stating the obvious.
What? Like
that's a bitch on narcotics.
I said, hey doc, what I weigh last year? And I said, he goes, well, you've lost 7 pounds since last year. And I said, 7 pounds in a year sounds like great. If I hit for 7, he goes, no, I really want you to lose weight. And I'm like, okay, what do you want to do? And he goes, well, I got a drug. I said, nope, I'm not doing any of that fucking Mangovy or Wengovy or Ergovy or whatever the fucking Govy it is. Yeah. I said, I'm not doing any of that insulin bullshit because all my friends have done it. And they said, you spend a month on the fucking toilet shitting your brains out and all headaches and all that. I said, I am not doing it. And he goes, oh, no, I got something. He goes, I have an appetite suppressant drug I want to put you on. Been around for 40 years. Only side effects are you might get a little tingling in your fingers and in your lips. And he says you might get cotton mouth from it. Some people do, some people don't. He said, but if you get cotton mouth, it's fine because I want you to drink a lot of water anyway.
Right.
I said, okay, well, yeah, I suppose I can give it a try, but my wife's going to want to do it too. And he goes, oh no, we'll get her set up too. He goes, but the thing is, I want you to do 1,600 calories a day. And I said, get the fuck out of here. Ain't going to work. This boy needs more than 1,600 calories to survive. And he says, I tell you what. He says, let me put you on it. You get on it for a week. He says, I guarantee you're going to be begging to try and figure out how to eat 1,600 calories in a day. He says, you are not going to have any hunger at all. He said, it will just totally eliminate.
I don't love that.
And so I'm like, I'll try it, dude. I'll try it. Well, then I go to get the medicine. I couldn't get it. They didn't have it in stock.
Oh boy.
But it finally came in. So tomorrow I'm going to give her a whirl. I may weigh 20 pounds. I'm like, dude, I don't need no medicine. If I eat 1,600 calories a day, fuck, I'll lose 10 pounds a week.
No shit.
Right?
No
I
shit.
did that. Well, I had less than that. I only had 1,300 calories, but.
Yeah, but you weigh a third of me.
Yeah.
You didn't have to agree to that, Emma. You could have said double.
Sorry.
So anyway. That's starting. Got exciting news.
What a bad time to start that. I feel
What?
like. I feel like that's
Why?
a bad time for you to start that because you're trying to start up a new restaurant and you try
You
everything.
know, you know, the thing about it is, I haven't been really hungry at all anyway. I've
Yeah.
been on the run so much. I mean, last week I averaged 14,000 steps.
That is a
That's
lot.
Right.
that's a lot for me,
That's a
and
lot
and
of
I've
steps.
lost. I keep losing just because I'm so active, just
You're
running
just
here,
busy.
running there, running here, running
Sure.
here. I'm just busy. I'm busy, from the time I wake up in the morning till the time I sack out at night. So, but we got some other exciting news. We got a Derflinger back on the payroll.
Is that right?
I have never left the payroll, but you added another one.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's good.
It's
news.
about time.
I'm pretty excited to have Emma's mom back on the payroll.
That'll be good.
We haven't given her a title yet. She says, "What am I going to be doing?" I said, "Same thing you used to do," which was my right-hand gal, but on steroids because we're a lot bigger company now. So kind of excited about that. Of course, she has to go see the world and tour stuff and whatever. So she's going to be not until July, but hopefully right about the time we open this breakfast restaurant and I'm balls deep in everything, then I'll be able to push off some stuff
That'll be good.
off to her. Yeah, pretty excited. Pretty excited.
You said you cooked a tumwa. How'd you do up there?
I did. Well, I hit third overall.
Third overall. Who won it?
I was Shiggin and Grinning, my boys from Minnesota.
Them boys can't stay across that state line, can they?
Well, they just love the state of Iowa, man. They won the last time they were down here. They won in Altoona and went to Ottumwa. They just love their food, and him and I are cooking 95% the same recipes. But
right,
he's cooking good and hitting the right tables. And I made a couple mistakes yesterday, just not being very well organized, not having. Part of a barbecue contest is having everything in its place. Well, here I am cooking out of the motorhome for the first time. And I got shit all this underground storage, underneath the motorhome, and I got shit everywhere. So that's why I had a zillion steps yesterday just searching for shit.
Oh, I bet.
And so I made a couple mistakes. Got my chicken too spicy. I didn't get it calmed down. My ribs were a little on the overdone side. My pork I thought was a train wreck, but I got third.
Hey, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
For a barbecue question. You said you got your chicken too spicy, and then you couldn't get it calmed down. Explain how you got it too spicy and how you try to calm it down.
Well, so I've been putting this habanero type sauce as my heat source in my sauce.
Okay.
Right? Well, I'm last minute prepping, 5:00 in the morning on Friday morning. I'm trying to get all this shit ready to go. And because then I still got to get into the restaurant and graduation, all this stuff. Well, instead of grabbing the teaspoon and stuff, I just grab the bottle and start dumping shit in. And I wasn't very consistent in my sauce making. I was in a hurry.
Right.
And I know the sauce was a little spicy. Well, as part of the process, if I do that, if I know it's too spicy, or the rub, if the chicken comes out too spicy, I'll put some honey on that chicken and sweeten it up to counteract that spice.
Okay.
Well,
and that'll bring it down.
So I was wrapping my ribs and I ran my bottle of honey, got empty, and I threw it in the trash. And then when I got time to do chicken, I didn't get out the next bottle of honey because then it would have been in sight and I would have went, honey, chicken, duh. But I didn't do that. Well, it's chicken. My chicken's getting done. I couldn't get my chicken done last week. And so this week I'm like, I'll get that shit done. So I put it on a half hour early. And so it's cooking along, everything fine, and it's getting up to where it's almost done. I just need a couple more degrees out of it. And so I'm just sitting there in the chair and the phone rings and it's the restaurant. Which doesn't really happen very often. And they don't have power on part of the building. So they've lost a phase of power. Unfortunately, the phase of power they lost was the damn kitchen. And we had 120 graduation caterings going out yesterday, and this was 11:45. And I'm like, you gotta be shitting me. So I'm whatever. And we finally found out it actually, we were running so much equipment, we tripped a main breaker.
Really?
Which we've done once before. But since everything was full bore, we tripped a main breaker. Well, they got it back on. Well, then I go to check my chicken and it's 5 degrees overdone. I'm like, son of a bitch. And then I'm a little behind. And so I didn't see the honey bottle. So it's just dip my chicken, put it on, let's go, turned it in. Everything looked good. I didn't even taste it. And then I took a piece over to Joe from Never Easy Barbecue. And I said, hey, Joe, try my chicken. And he goes, wow, that chicken's, man, that's juicy. That's really good. That chicken's hot. It just, the heat come on. He goes, I hope they write the 9 down before within the first 10 seconds. Because he said, I'm like, spicy. I'm like, oh, fuck. Screwed up. So anyway, chicken got like 22nd, and ribs I thought they were pretty good, but they were just a tad over. They were still on the bone, but they were just a little tad over. I think I got 21st. And then pork, I started doing pork and it was going okay. And then I'm like, people have been turning in. I've seen a lot of winning boxes with these strands of kind of pulled pork, but it's just strands of whether it's bacon meat or whatever. I'm like, I'm going to try and do some of that today just for shits and giggles.
Right.
So I started putting that in. I'm like, God, I'd really like some chunks in there. So I still had some money muscle on the board. So I started chunking it up and I put it on the back. And then I'm like, well, that looks like shit. I better put some more on the front. So I filled that box. Couldn't even it looked like a Memphis and May box.
Huh.
Well, I turned it in, and Wade Reeder from There's No Place Like Smoke, he was turning in, and he laid his box down. He opened it up to make sure everything was looking, and his box looked pristine.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful box. Well, I didn't open mine because mine looked like a damn train wreck. Anyway, turned it in. I get third place in chicken, or third place in pork. He doesn't get a call.
Is that right?
And then I get to brisket. And I had a brisket point that wasn't super marbled, and I'm like, because most of the time these Wagyu points are so marbled you can't cook the fat out of them.
Right.
And so I'm like, I'm going to cook this point. Normally I wouldn't even cook them; they're so fatty. I just throw it in the freezer, grind it up, whatever. So I was cooking the brisket, and it gets done, and I got ready for turn-ins, and I sliced up, and I had 12 beautiful burn ends. And I just set them off to the side, and I started slicing my brisket. Well, then I'm like, if I'm going to turn in these burnt ends, I better try one. And I haven't tasted any of my food all day long. I'm not into barbecue. I'm not into eating it. I've just been feeling my way thus far.
Right.
Because I couldn't even find anybody to taste my ribs or pork for me. So I'm just turning in shit, which was probably a mistake. But anyway, that's what happens when you run solo and you don't have Sherry there to tell you what's wrong. So anyway, I took one bite and I spit it out. I'm like, that's just absolutely horrible.
What was wrong with it?
Fatty and whatever. It was just fat. It was just a gumball in my mouth. I'm like,
Huh.
Threw it away, pushed him off to the side. Well, then here comes Jeff, who used to be our kitchen manager years ago, and him and Bam, two guys that work the Smokey D's wannabes.
Yeah.
So they're back cooking again under the Clean Plate Club.
Okay.
And he comes over to bring me some of his brisket. And he sees, and he kind of steps back because I'm outside, no tent, no nothing, just there. And he kind of steps back because he had already turned in his brisket and he was bringing me a slice to try. And he goes, you turned in those burnt ends? I said, no, they're shitty. And he reaches down, grabs one off the table and bites it. And he goes, that's really good. I'm like, what? He goes, that's really good. And then he goes, give me another one. So he grabs another one. These are really good. Well, I'm finishing putting my brisket in the box. I'm like, are you sure they're good? Yeah, they're good. Okay, so I grabbed 6 of them, put them last minute in the box. I got to brisket turn in, and I looked up, and I'm about, I don't know, it's 1:34. So I got a minute left to turn in, and I'm still finishing my box.
Oh boy.
But I'm not too far from turn in. I'm running it by myself. But I go up and they're like, I got a minute. So I just start walking up. And all of a sudden, the gal at the table goes, you better hurry. I'm like, what? I said, I got to have at least 15 or 20 seconds left. She goes, you better hurry. So I kind of run up there. And I look at there and I got 20 seconds left. And I'm like, what the fuck? What are you telling me that for?
Right.
And she looks at me, well, I'm walking away. And they got this big banner on this pole that is, and the wind came up and it blew that down and it hit her on the top of the head. And I turned around and I said, that's payback for telling me that.
God damn, Darren.
That's not nice.
Just
No.
God's way of getting back.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, you spoke of Memphis in May. You know, Memphis in May was this last weekend.
Yeah, I know,
Finished
Randy. I got home in time to watch awards last night.
I didn't even watch awards. I fell asleep.
Yeah, so it was the usual. Of course, awards, they changed that this year. So in the
What'd they
past,
do?
Memphis years ago, they came back with this thing that they kind of spoiled everything. So when you go through, you get your scoring, whatever. And then if you make finals, they announce you get finals and the final judges come around.
Right.
Well, years ago, they changed it where if you made the top 10,
right.
then they would walk around with a piece of paper saying, hey, make sure it awards, but only 10 people can come to stage.
Yeah, that sucked.
Right?
I thought that was the stupidest thing ever.
So they spoiled it. Well,
Yeah.
this year they did away with that.
Did they
right?
really?
They did away with it. So nobody knew. I mean, the top three knew who they were going to be.
Sure.
Top three, who was going to be the finals, but the rest of them, nobody knew.
That was
who
the
was
years
gonna...
we did good down there. That's what they did, and that's good.
Right. So they started calling people to stage, and these people, every one of these teams is bringing 30, 40, 50 people on stage.
Oh, really?
It was crazy. And I think awards took 2 hours, something like that.
Holy shit.
But it was amazing to watch because just the bringing the excitement, because if you tell me at a barbecue contest I'm going to be in the top 10, then I'm going to be going, God, don't call my name, because I want to get fourth. I know whether I'm going to get first, second, or third if I made finals. But the excitement in people, it just brought back that whole excitement and people through. So, but in the end, it came down to the usual suspects. You had the Chris Lilly from Big Bob Gibson's won pork shoulder. Heath Riles won ribs from Heath Riles Barbecue. And then the Shed ended up winning whole hog and ended up winning the overall.
The whole thing.
So it's kind of, I still go back to Memphis in May as kind of a popularity contest. You still got to get your blind box. I know that. You still got to cook good food. But other than that, you got to be king of bullshitters you can't bullshit the bullshitter at Memphis in May. But
when we,
it made me think about it, Randy. I'm like, God, that'd be fun to go back. But then I thought about that $25,000 I spent on it and said, maybe it's not that much fun.
Well, same with me. I was thinking the same thing this morning, that maybe I ought to get my crew together, the small crew together, and we go down there and cook that. But then I remembered how much it cost. But that year we got fourth in ribs. They didn't announce that the top 10. And I mean, there's me and Marla and Kevin Gross and he passed away.
Reuben,
we were sitting there drunker than fuck, drinking and stuff. And so, it's like, okay, they're up to fifth place, so we're out of there. And that was the first year we cooked it. And it was like, we're out of that. And Dr. Barbecue, Ray Lampy, was sitting over there next to us. Kevin was bullshitting with him. And so fifth place, and I mean, we weren't even paying any attention because we knew we didn't do worth shit. And again, we were pretty fucked up. And we're sitting there, and I remember they called, I think we were cooking as Ulcer Acres in, and they called our name. I'm like, what? And Ray Lampy looked over at, he goes, Randy, they called your fucking name. Get on the stage. And then the one thing I'll never forget about that is when we came off the stage. I mean, that was the ultimate. And then when we came off the stage, Mike Mills met me at the bottom of the steps and congratulated me.
Yeah, they talked about him last night during awards. How he was smiling down on him and how he would have loved that change and just whatever. So anyway, for a second there last night, I'm like, Randy and I need to put together the dream team for next year. Now, if it stays, and it wasn't in the park, it was up at Liberty in the parking lot, and and everybody, even though it's not in the park, the in and out is so much nicer, and everything is so much nicer than being in that muddy mess down at the park. And weather makes a huge difference, when the weather's not. Every time we've been down there, we've been up to assholes deep in mud, and if you're not deep in mud, then it's muddy for the first part of the week, and then you're dust storm and just a mess the rest of the week. But then anyway, made me think about, my God, let's put together Smack Talk Barbecue. I'll go cook ribs and you bullshit them, Randy.
That would be fun.
Maybe we'll cue the mic.
Oh yeah,
I get to go.
Well, if you pay your own way, because we don't sponsor shit.
Okay. How much would it cost me if I just came to go? If I just wanted to go, I don't even have. I'm not gonna help. I mean, I don't think you'd want my help.
Oh, you never know.
Can't be that much.
Never know.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Go down there and cue the mic.
Yeah,
I think we should do it. Yeah, I would like to experience it.
It's still expensive. God damn.
It's expensive. Damn, it's expensive.
Yeah, but it'd be cool.
Oh, well. So anyway, what else is going on? I saw another, a small business struggling post. Been seeing a lot of those lately.
Have you really?
Lots of, a lot of them. This time it was the egg roll ladies, which I try and frequent a couple times a week. They're just
now. Who are the egg roll ladies? Are they in Des Moines or Minneapolis?
Yeah, we've talked about them a couple of times.
They're in Des Moines. Right. So the egg roll ladies. So they, they had a food truck, a trailer, and they did events, and very, very popular doing the food truck. They would sell out almost every event they ever went to, and then they kind of probably made more of a mistake than not. Is they found a location which is 3 doors down from our corporate office. Not a great location for a restaurant, because you really can't see it from. I mean, you can see it from the main thoroughfare,
but you can't get to it easily.
You just can't get. And once you know how to get to it, but you can't just pull in and get to it. So they opened, and she said, they were struggling and reducing their hours. So they were kind of going back to just being open Friday, Saturday, Sunday, instead of throughout the week, because they just weren't getting any support. And the local people weren't giving them support. And to be honest, they opened up this brick and mortar location. It's in a strip warehouse type mall. They have the front. Used to be a nutrition shake and an ice cream shop that failed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which probably is your first indicator of when the ice cream shop fails in Iowa, then something's probably wrong with the location. And they didn't have any hood systems or anything, so they were cooking everything out in the truck. So the gal that owns it, she's like full-time military, so she's constantly traveling, and her mom was cooking. And so they're trying to balance this staff, and I'm friends with her on Facebook, and I'm watching the trials and tribulations of, she's got a 6 or 7 year old daughter that's sleeping at the restaurant while she's prepping, and just, it's just a struggle, and they're trying to get people to come out. Now all of a sudden she posts that. Now a lot of people are coming out and she's not staffed for it. And so it's causing more issues.
Right.
But it just comes down to that. It's tough to start that small business. And for some reason that really bugs me is, why do people line up and support all these chain restaurants, but the local ones die? Right?
Yeah.
The local ones die. And, it used to be a cost thing. Local food was maybe a little more expensive than chain.
Sure.
But it's not even a cost thing anymore. And we've talked a lot, and, I'm a big, but at the same time, I'm down the street and we are breaking records.
Yeah.
I mean, we are just printing it every day now. I mean, every day we are getting busier and busier and busier. And I try and figure out, okay, what's my magic potion? I know what my magic potion is. That it's like, how do we get other people thinking about that? Because it's not about the food. Your food has to be good. Your food has to be above average. And if you listen to this podcast for any amount of time, you'll learn that above average food, consistent at a fair price, quickly, is going to be the solution every single time. And so, I've been into the egg roll ladies, about every 2 weeks I try and go in there. Sometimes it's 3, just to support them. And I'll order egg rolls and stuff. And sometimes it takes me 15 or 20 minutes to get my food.
Sure.
When most of that's sitting there in front of me, but if they order like fried rice, they have to go cook it in the trailer.
Right.
And then it just takes a long time to get it in. So as you look at that process, it's just broken because they're not, even though they're trying to make it fast, it's not fast. And if you can't be fast, then people don't want to eat there.
Well, I can tell you from experience, when I was in Puerto Rico and we first went down there, we got permitted to cook in the food truck. So we were doing everything in the food truck. At first, we didn't have the permits to run the restaurant, open up the restaurant. And I said, fuck it, I'm going in there. I'm going to go ahead and we've served in the restaurant. So everything came out of the food truck and then went into the restaurant. And that was a dying horse. It just wasn't working. I mean, we couldn't keep up. It's just so much. It was the biggest thing was the disconnect between the dining room and the restaurant and the food truck. There's just something about the disconnect. And I finally said, you know what? I don't care. It's Puerto Rico. They can shut me down if they want to. But of course, that didn't happen. And I just said, fuck it. We're moving into the restaurant. We moved into the restaurant. Nobody said anything and life went on. So the whole disconnect between the truck and the restaurant is a big thing.
Well, and I think in the barbecue space, people think about Texas barbecue and they think about sliced fresh on the board and they, that, and that's great. I love it. It's my favorite barbecue.
Right.
But if you've got a half-hour lunch, you're not going to that place. It's a destination spot.
Yeah, exactly.
People, I've been talking with the breakfast restaurant, talking to a lot of the past clients, because every time I pull into the driveway up there, 3 more people pull in to ask questions about what's going on. Right?
Sure.
And, I talk to a lot of people that say, hey, we loved the food there in the past, but it was just, I couldn't eat lunch there because I couldn't get it fast enough. It would take sometimes 45 minutes if there was a lot of people in the restaurant to get stuff.
Sure.
And we just couldn't. And I said, that's why I think hopefully we'll be successful there is I'm going to bring the element of speed. So I'm going to take the stuff off the menu that doesn't, has to be speed. But that's why I want to put more daily specials on, because you get a daily special. I can make a daily special in 2 minutes.
You can gear up
because it's a daily special.
You got all your parts and pieces ready to roll on it, right?
All ready to go. I mean, you got something like chicken fried steak will be one that you got to actually fry the chicken fried steak. But if you're rolling through enough, you can actually get one frying and
get some bankroll.
Get it going. Or you can fry 6 of them at a time.
Right. So,
but I think that's the important thing is designing it around speed, not designing it around, it's just barbecue. It's just, that's why these smash burger places are so popular. Because you can cook a smash burger in 2 minutes.
Get it in and out.
Get it in and out. So, I mean, that's ultimately, how do you get it? How do you get it fast? It's got to be fast. It's got to be fast. And it just blows me away. I go over here to Ankeny right here by the Ornery Chicken, and just lines wrapped around buildings of every single fast food joint. And they're not even fast anymore because you're waiting so much in line.
I was going to say, they've got so many people in line. I mean, how many times do you go by a Chick-fil-A and it's just a monster line all the time?
Well, I went by once and there wasn't a line. 7 o'clock in the morning, but
yeah, there you go.
Okay.
They weren't open, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I do agree with you. Some of these other fast casuals, you'll go by them, and there's a line building, even early afternoon,
Yeah. So how do you get that people? How do you get those people away from that chain restaurant? And I imagine, chain restaurants have a huge marketing dollar,
Right.
so it's easy for them to get the word out or whatever. But I guess if you're listening and you're, I have a rule. I try not to eat at chain restaurants. Not that I've never not went through a McDonald's or a Hardee's drive-through when I'm in a hurry.
Right.
But, I try and not eat at chain restaurants.
I agree with you. I mean, the only thing is you just got to pimp yourself out. I mean, I wonder sometimes people are hesitant to use Facebook, Instagram, and me, I'm the biggest believer in Facebook and Instagram,
Sure.
social media.
Yeah.
And you just got to get it out there. It's the only thing I can think of.
Well, and I'm on the fence whether that drives traffic or not for me.
Oh, for you personally. Yeah.
For me
you,
personally,
it's a little different.
Yeah.
And I can't quite figure out why it's a little different for me. I mean,
because most of your following, for Smokey D's specifically, most of your following is from people across the world because they saw you on TV. So a lot of the times you're not even necessarily in a situation of where when you promote new things, it's convenient for 90% of your followers because they're not around.
But that other 10%.
As for Randy, which that other 10% probably is coming in, but you just don't realize because it's not a very big portion.
Can you run those analytics? Can you tell where your followers are from?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. You get on the backside.
I don't have access to your accounts, so I personally can't. But
you get on the backside of Meta, you can.
Yeah,
interesting.
Analytics.
I was at breakfast, by myself last week, trying to. What day was it? Oh, it's Friday morning. It was early because I wanted to eat breakfast at 6 a.m. Had a lot going on, so I went up here to the breakfast club, which I've been going to, and it's fine. It's very bougie. Not my deal. I'm like, can I just get a plain breakfast here?
They opened a breakfast club in Ankeny?
Yeah, it's in Prairie Trail.
I didn't know that. So they have 3 locations already?
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's impressive.
Yeah, I'm not sure opening multiple locations is impressive.
Well, I mean, they've only been around since they started literally right when you started the Henry Chicken.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of impressive.
But anyway, so I go up there and the bartender, we talk back and forth, and he's up there, and I'm the only one in there at 6 o'clock in the morning. Till even when I leave at 6:45, there's usually only one other person in there.
Really?
But anyway, so I'm sitting there having breakfast, and in comes this gal, and she's asking all kinds of questions or whatever, and she wants to be my best friend. Now, she doesn't want to be my best friend, but anyway, she's very and she works she says, yeah, I'm getting ready to go give a speech at some library. She works for the Iowa Economic Development Commission.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Iowa Economic Development.
Interesting.
So anyway, she was talking. Here, I got her card here because I need to. Yeah, Iowa Economic Development Authority. And she's the tourism liaison, right?
Ah, okay.
And
there you go.
So we started talking up, and she said, hey, what's your deal? And I'm like, yeah, well, I own this little barbecue place down the street called Smokey D's. Or we talked about it. She's like, whatever. Well, so she's in charge of bringing tourism dollars into Iowa.
Right.
And so they got these huge grants. She goes, we got so much money to spend that they're in Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Nebraska, trying to get people to travel to Iowa. And she said, "You're like the perfect thing." I'm like, "Yeah, my parking lot's full of out-of-state plates. I'm a destination spot, triple D, da, 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 da." She's like, "We really got to talk. We got to talk." Well, she goes, "You're not even listed on our site." And I'm like, "What is your site?" Well, they have this Tourism Iowa site that you can go list your business for free. You can put searches for free. You can do all this stuff free. And I'm like, "But nobody knows about it." She goes, "Yeah, that's my job. That's my job, is to spread this word to small business owners and Iowa businesses that, hey, we're promoting your business all around." Dang. And she goes, "Yeah, have your social media gals get a hold of me. Maybe we'll do some stuff together." But we started talking about micro influencers. Right. Just kind of led to, because she kept talking about our influencers, our influencers, our influencers. And I'm like, "Oh, you have a lot of info." "Oh, yeah, we have a lot of influencers." She goes, "We have an agency called the Hummingbirds that they use." And have you ever heard of the Hummingbirds, Emma?
No.
No,
I haven't.
So the Hummingbirds, supposedly a couple gals started an agency that is a direct content of Iowa influencers, right? And now they've broadened out past Iowa, I think. But it's these micro influencers that have a great reach.
And what's a micro influencer?
So we talked about the micro influencer.
Yeah, they're just local influencers.
Like your guy that you brought down
that's
from
what
Chicago.
you'd consider a micro.
Well, yeah, because you're not dealing with somebody that's a nationwide name, but you're finding somebody that is, you're not getting Guy Fieri to come to your place, but you're getting something that people respect their opinion, and they have a very good reach. Kind of like Cue the Mic podcast, right?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Right? If we say it, it's true. But you have micro influencers that are going out, and they may be going out and doing a review and, saying, "Wow, this food's great. This tenderloin's great." And they do great videos and all this stuff. So I thought it was pretty interesting, because I've been talking more and more with my social media guys about micro influencers and what's the cost of that. And is that worth it, to bring in that, especially when it equates to the ornery chicken and the crafty mac. When it comes to It's My Jam Cafe, I'm not sure we're going to have to influence anything. I've experienced it myself. There is such a need for the working man and ladies breakfast.
Right.
See how I was correct there, Emma? Normally I'd say the working man's breakfast. But that just simplistic, non-bougie breakfast, I think there's a hole. I've been searching all over this town trying to find a place to go to breakfast that just gives me, in this part of town, that just gives me something simplistic.
And there's nothing, you're not finding anything?
Oh, God. I mean, I'm having at the Breakfast Club, I had breakfast egg rolls. They were really good, right? They were bacon, egg, and cheese, potatoes inside an egg roll and cooked up. Very, very good. Very, very good. But, they have Eggs Benedict that has a cheese pupusa with carnitas and pickled onions and salsa. Why? I'm like, can I just get a piece of ham on there? And then every plate is huge. Every plate is huge. And I'm like, hey, we got to get these senior citizen portions down. We started having this conversation with somebody, I can't remember who it was, and they're like, hell, I'll pay almost full price. Just give me half. And that way I don't feel bad about having food go to waste.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. So if your special's $12.99, give it to me for $10.99 and serve me half. Your margins go up.
Exactly.
Yeah. But normal restaurants look at, wow, my sales is going to go down. Why do I want to sell something? And, same problem we got with the ornery chicken here. We're trying to figure out, should we bust apart? Every sandwich comes with a side. You get a huge chicken sandwich and a huge thing of fries for $9.99.
Right.
Well, should I bust them apart and make the sandwich, $7.99 and the side $3? So I raise my price buck, but then I can unbundle, or should I go to a small sandwich and sell it for $5? I can be at 25% food cost. That I can beat the shit out of Chick-fil-A with a bigger chicken sandwich.
Yeah, interesting.
But you don't want to ruin your revenue, but you can't just look at the revenue. Yeah. You also got to look at the profit margin. If I can sell twice as many of them, For a
Right.
smaller sandwich, I may be the same revenue, but I'm going to be a lot more profitable.
Right.
Things that make you go,
No kidding.
Should we address our issue on the food handling permit with our consistency group and see what their thoughts are?
Maybe somebody's got an opinion.
Yeah. I'm under the influence or
We
whatever.
know.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. That no matter
of the understanding.
Of the understanding. Same difference. That you always have to have a licensed food handling permit person at your location where you're serving food, no matter if it's a food truck, restaurant, little cafe, a 4-H camp, 4-H food stand at the county fair. You always have to have someone on location that has a food handling permit. We were trying to decide if that's the case or if that's just an Illinois thing, or is that just something I imagine?
I personally, I think it's in the perfect world, they would love to have a licensed food handler on staff at all times.
Right.
But the reality is, they just want to show. To me, you should show effort.
Exactly.
Right? You should show effort that, hey, I mean, like you walk by, we've probably got 10 people on our staff.
Right.
But there's 10 people on our staff that are licensed. But there's times none of those 10 people are in the restaurant.
Right.
And our health department's going to walk in and say, wow, you really went to some effort here to make people understand food safety.
Right.
And things. So like from you, Randy's worried about he's got to be on the damn truck because he's the only one with a food handling permit. And I'm like, Randy, I could probably pencil whip you I have proctors on staff. I could probably pencil whip that thing and give you a piece of paper. It isn't going to make you any more food safe.
No.
But the fact of the matter is, I think you just have to, if the health department walks up and you're not on the truck, they'll go, hey, where's your food safe? I don't think they're even going to ask that question. I think they're going to look and see a certificate hanging on the wall.
Right.
They're not going to say, which one of you? I've never seen that happen in a health inspection where they say, hey, who's here got their food handle? As long as you say, I have one posted.
Right.
Because if they were say, hey, you don't have a food safe. Oh, yeah, he had to run and get something. Hey, Randy, how soon are you going to be back? The health department just showed up. They want to know.
Right.
And then Randy goes, oh yeah, I'm going to be another hour or so, right? And they're not going to shut them down.
Yeah.
Because things happen. Sometimes you've got a food truck that only has 1 or 2 people on. So I think you're worried about it a lot more than you need to. I think you can send out that truck, put your certificate on it. That's my 2 cents. Otherwise, throw them all in the truck and come to Des Moines. We'll have lunch and we'll get the proctor done and they can all take their test and be done in 2 hours.
Yeah, I'd come see you, Randy.
Because
I'd load the boys up.
I have been known to tell my proctors that, hey, get this shit done and they will pass.
I don't think you should be saying shady stuff like that on the internet.
Yeah, it's kind of like I'm doing this renovation, right?
Don't say something that's going to get us in trouble.
No. So I'm doing this renovation on this breakfast restaurant, right? And as part of it, now we're tearing out the entire floor. Well, so I got a plumbing quote from a guy and he says, hey, is this a something site? Whatever. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, well, it used to be an old gas station.
Oh, boy.
And he said,
oh, shit.
So with old gas stations, and the tanks are all out of the ground stuff, no big deal.
Yeah, but the soil's still corrupt.
So the soil, supposedly if the soil is bad, it could eat through the glue on PVC pipe. Right?
Right.
And so you end up having to re-put in cast iron, much more expensive to redo all this plumbing. Well, we're in the process of taking this out, and my plumber goes, just check with them. I just want to see how picky the county's going to be. And the county guy called me back on Friday afternoon and said, Darren, he said, I don't know if it's one of those sites or not. When you dig up the floor, if all the pipe's rotten and it looks like it's going to be a problem, just put down some gravel before you put to protect that pipe a little bit. I really don't care. Now if you went to the city of Des Moines, they'd be Nazis about it, right?
Yeah.
Really?
But Polk County is like, hey,
I was scared with my
down some
house.
gravel. I told my plumber that. I said, yeah. He said, just put some gravel down, which is typical. What you do when you put plumbing, you put a gravel base down.
Right.
He's like, yeah, great. That's all we needed to hear. We did our due diligence. It wasn't a concern. It wasn't a concern.
Well, guys, you got anything else?
You got to pee or what?
I don't know. We're just at an hour.
We're at an hour.
You seem like we're in an hour. Wow. Another bullshit session of an hour. Not sure we taught
anybody. And hopefully we enlightened people some. Hopefully we gave them some enlightenment.
Maybe next week we'll get back to an educational topic.
I think we're educational anyway, because Darren and I are two smart fuckers.
Just ask us.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's that. Okay.
There's that.
Hey, Randy, what are you going to TikTok for us this week, Randy?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
I'll have somebody come up with a new TikTok.
You're going to have to redo your food truck park TikTok and do it back at the Circle K.
Yeah,
I may have to do that.
Do a psych.
Do that and go out to the food truck when nobody's there and hop back into the Circle K and say, that didn't work.
That didn't go as good as we thought it would.
I don't know if you say that. You don't want to drag the food truck park because they're still starting up. But
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys haven't already, follow us on social media at Cue the Mic Pod or find us on YouTube at Cue the Mic Podcast. Subscribe, like our videos, rate our show.
We'd like to thank our
sponsors. Download episodes.
Me, myself, and I.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boom. Done.
Oh wait!
Finished.
Wow, that was kind of a slow.
Yeah,
Randy.
that one didn't scare me.
You're more known for
out of there.
Boom.
Fucking done. Oh. Done. Fucking done.
Out.
That one got me. That's okay. We're out. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for
see you
listening.
later. Adios, amigos.